Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the show. I'm Billy, the host. Welcome back to the show. 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 I'm Billy, the host.
Welcome back to the show. I'm Billy, the host. We're here in Trent's Unnamed Studio with comedian and producer Trent Luzak.
Hello.
And our guest today is a stand-up comedian and a writer. Everybody please welcome Wayne Stauts. But yeah, man, what's been going on with you?
Not a bit, man. Just still getting used to Georgia. It's been about 20 years since I've lived here, so it's still Atlanta is still its own animal. It is a very wild animal, and I love it. So
where were you living before?
I've been in Vegas for the last 13 years.
13. You're from Georgia, though?
Kind of. I spent part of my childhood here, and then the other part of it in Mississippi, so I bounced back and forth. And then, I came back once in my 20s as well. So,
how do you like Vegas?
Vegas was fun. It's just tough when you have kids, you know. There's not a whole lot for the kids to go do because it's so hot everywhere.
Yeah.
So, and the school system is terrible. It is one of the worst. Like the kids only need to be able to count to 21, and that's it. You know, so that's where they cut it off. Like, there's just the school systems are terrible, man. In 2017 they legalized marijuana, and the whole like crux of that was, hey, we're going to legalize marijuana and use the tax revenue to help build up the schools. And then the first year they made like $100 million, and they were like, hey, we got a rainy day fund. And we're like, but the schools? And they're like, we got a rainy day fund. Like,
yeah.
So,
we're going to the casino.
yeah. So, yeah. And then like,
trust me.
yeah, right. They just put all of it on flag.
Black's feeling good tonight.
Always next year. But yeah, no, like I don't know, a year later they announced that they were going to be building the stadium for the Raiders at the taxpayers' expense. So,
are you a gambler?
No. I mean, not in conventional ways. I pretty much just gamble on like, can I make it home sober, and should I wear a condom? You know what I mean? Like, those are the two biggest gambles.
It sounds like the answer is yes.
What's that?
From our earlier conversation, it sounds like the answer is yes, you should wear a condom.
I should, yes, absolutely. Then I wouldn't get phone calls about I ate mold. But,
no, that was a good phone call.
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah, my oldest son, he's funny. He's very quirky. But yeah, no, Vegas is it's a fun place if you got the money and you got no children.
Because I learned how to gamble on Grand Theft Auto, and I learned how to lose all your money gambling on Grand Theft Auto. And I really think the best system is to just put everything on black one time, and if you win it, you win, and then you just leave.
That's a solid gamble in sports betting.
That's the only one that works in Grand Theft Auto.
Who's in sports betting? That went right over Billy's head.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. It was racist. maybe I ignored the racism.
So really, you got a positive lesson from Grand Theft Auto?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's what you want to do in GTA. You go in, you spin the wheel, you throw it all on black. You either walk out with twice your money or nothing.
And that keeps you from gambling elsewhere? You're not on Prize Picks, picking out football players and shit?
No, I don't do that shit. So I saw some interview with like one of the app developers for those things. He was like, it's designed to take your money. So I was like, all right, I believe him.
Yeah. Places like Vegas aren't built because everybody came there to actually realize their dream.
I don't think I could beat ChatGPT in a chess game or something like that.
I would never challenge a robot to anything at this point. You know what I mean? Now that they have, what are they? They have achieved conscience or whatever. Like,
yeah,
I don't need the Michael Jordan of robots getting pissed off at me.
I think it's a good thing. I think we're limited as a species, and we should create like a super, like, hyper species. That's kind of badass, right?
Really?
I think that's what's gonna happen. So I might as well be like, yeah, it's cool.
But I mean, could you?
I'm still gonna die. Who cares? But the robot might never die. That'd be kind of cool. They might also resent us for that. which is parenthood, man.
So you're on Skynet's side, I think, at this point.
Yeah,
The
you gotta
sound.
be because it's already too late.
Imagine if they designed the real Terminator to look like Billy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just a chill guy. Like,
Right.
shows up. It's kind of annoying sometimes when he murders everybody, but it's fine.
I couldn't picture you being any kind of aggressive.
Oh, I can definitely be aggressive when I get wasted, drunk.
Yeah.
That's when I let it out. Yeah, that's
Okay.
why I don't do that.
Yeah. All right. I just like to be loud when I'm drunk.
Yeah, I'll get loud, but I'll also get aggressive.
Oh,
I'll be
yeah.
like,
Okay.
Shut up, bitch.
Are you one of those guys that just swings on random people?
No, I'll just talk a lot of shit
Ah, okay.
and call them a bitch and stuff. Yeah.
I'm the idiot friend that's like, why did you make my friend call you a bitch? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I had a few of those, and so
Yeah.
they were total enablers, though, because they would love it when I would get
I
blackout wasted. They just thought they didn't love it, but they thought it was funny. They're like much happier now. Like,
yeah.
oh yeah, you probably shouldn't do that, but
You start testing your manhood around other grown men, and
they would always be like, "Dude, you did the craziest shit."
I had a friend in high school. This kid could fight, dude. He just like, it just hit hard. Like I watched him hit other kids, and I was like, I'm glad we're friends. Like he hit them hard. So we both worked at casinos in my hometown. I grew up in Vicksburg, Mississippi, and we both worked at casinos as bussers in like high-end restaurants, which meant that all the servers knew us. So if we went to the bar where the servers were going, they would see you walk up to the door, and they'd be like, "Hey, Bobby," and they wouldn't even card you. You walk right in, right? So we would sit there and have a few drinks. And my friend Scott would look at me and go, "You ready?" And I'm like, "Ready? Ready for what?" And he would just nail somebody. And "Are you ready?" means either A, clear the way so we can get out of here, or B, be ready so we can throw hands and get out of here. I hated that because there was never enough time to be like, "Wait!" It was just, "You ready?" Like mid swing. And dude, there was times where I would just shirt collar him, and he's like swinging on people, and I'm dragging him out of bars. We gotta go, dude. That fucker was nuts.
Just like to get drunk and yeah, test his man.
Drunk, sober, whatever it was, he was going to be an idiot to a certain level that was almost respectable.
Yeah.
You know, like you are willingly this dumb, and I love you for it because I don't have to experience it firsthand.
Yeah, I've said it before, but the problem with sacrificing yourself for comedy is it's fun for everybody except for you because you're the one sacrificing.
The old sad clown.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think his was necessarily comedy as much as it was crime. Just, yeah. He used to...
Crime is funny.
I don't know. Crime is
It's at least
profitable sometimes, too.
entertaining. Right?
What would be a funny crime?
Stealing.
Clown larceny.
Clown larceny.
Yeah. Clown trafficking.
Clown trafficking? All right.
Clown trafficking. That actually sounds like the most horrific thing I can picture.
It's just a cop standing there like, them shoes sound awfully heavy there. Fucking, and powder flies out. You
How
know?
many people are in the car?
Yeah.
I feel like mime trafficking would be better because they can't talk.
Yeah.
Easier crime.
All right. Yeah. Mime trafficking. That'd be a pretty funny crime. Why would you need to traffic mimes? Wasn't like the circus kind of like a funny kind of crime? Like, I guess it wasn't technically a crime because nobody was telling them not to do that. But they were just gathering up animals and freaks and torturing them.
Like watching what social justice, how it gets treated now? Can you imagine how the people got treated that were like, "Hey, quit hitting that bear so it'll ride a tricycle"? Like, what are you, some kind of woke retard? What do you mean it's my bear?
People still do it though. People still have those exotic animal ranches and stuff. It's like, what are we doing?
Only
here?
the cool people.
Yeah, weirdos. Most of them are like sex perverts too. What
Yeah.
is the connection between like exotic animals and perversion?
You've never been around somebody that has more than, I'll say, 5 animals, and you're comfortable. You know what I mean? Anything over that, and you're like, all right, this person's compensating. Unless they're selling them, which it's still at that point, something's wrong with them.
Yeah, a farm's different.
Yeah, that's
Outside of a farm.
that's.
Like residential 5 animals is too much.
Yeah, that's a lot.
What about dog breeders? Isn't that kind of fucked up?
It's really like,
Oh, you like dogs fucking so much?
They're just a bunch of inbred dogs for the most part, right?
Yeah,
a bunch of
a lot of
weirdos. That's why you want that. That sucks. Look at the royalty in England. That's not the kind of dog you want, man.
none of those people are attractive.
They don't look. They don't look like what I would picture like a royalty looking like. Look like a bunch of weirdos.
Yeah. I don't know. That's looking at those ugly fuckers makes you realize money does buy happiness. You know what I mean? Because like Meghan Markle is a babe, dude.
Yeah.
And there's no way he lands that otherwise.
Yeah.
No way.
Look at Jeff Bezos. That guy's a weirdo.
Yeah, and he got like good plastic surgery, so his doesn't look weird. You know what I mean? So he just kind of looks like a normal person. I don't. How do you make that much money and still go to work? You know what I mean? I get a tax return and I'm tempted to quit my job.
Yeah, people like working. Keeps them busy.
When you're that rich, there's plenty of ways to keep busy.
Yeah, that's true.
Like building a rocket.
But you know,
Looks like a dick.
you get bored with stuff easy.
Not bored enough to go to work. You know what I mean?
That's pretty boring.
Like I've never been like, oh fuck, I wish I had 8 hours of something to do today. I don't
know. I guess there's levels to it. Yeah, at a certain level, what more do you need?
He's the second richest guy on the planet.
But he's going to space with William Shatner, dude. Like, there's levels.
With the progressive guy?
Yeah. You think so-and-so from TJ's Construction is going to space? He's probably got a good life, you know. He's probably got a nice family, couple kids. But he's not in space with Pete Davidson.
Pete Davidson went to space?
He was supposed to. He was going to be on one of the rockets.
Yeah, but then he thought about his dad.
Yeah, right. First a Kardashian, then space. He's going dark places we all wish we could go.
Yeah, I give it like 6 months before it's like it's just a bunch of bitches on that rocket.
Just a bunch of what?
Just a bunch of hoes on the rocket. A bunch of Instagram
shaking their
models
ass and
on
stuff.
the rocket. Like, yeah, you want to go to space, bitch? Yeah, once we occupy Mars, who do you think is going to be the first person to
They're not going to send a rich person.
pimp a hoe on Mars?
Oh, it's going to be some poor person that like, you know what I mean, that owes the like IRS like 30 grand, and they're like, hey buddy, tell you what, you want to disappear forever? You want to be a hero?
It's going to be Daniel Delano.
I'll go to Mars, but I am going to usher in the robot overlords. But I'll go to Mars. Why not?
I don't know if I could do it. My first question would be like, how much room is there to jack off? Because that's a long ride, and expect me to like not jack off. I think that's unfair.
The ride to Mars?
Or just the whole time in general.
Yeah. I think it would have to not take that long, you know, for me to go. What am I going to do for...
One of the bathrooms in the Mars pod is going to become the Jack room.
How long would it take for humans to travel to Mars?
So long.
Yeah.
Years? How many years?
Yeah, probably years. I mean, they've landed, you know, other spacecraft on the Mars, of course. Allegedly.
Yeah. Well,
9 months one way.
9 months? That ain't bad. I'll go.
Yeah, 9 months. I mean, you can make a baby.
I could retain my semen for 9 months.
I'd be angry. There's no way.
Deep concentration.
Yeah, you come out of there with your forearms all atrophied and shit. Just nothing to them anymore.
Floating in midair, retaining your semen. You would become a god.
That's just that first time you accidentally let one load go and you're ducking it for the next 9 months. Fucking, 'cause it's floating around in zero gravity.
Yeah, it is an ethical question too, because once you send humans somewhere, all we do is create garbage. Like,
Oh, yeah, there's waste. There's definitely waste.
we spread like a disease.
I don't appreciate you calling my cum garbage, but
Well, I would consider it garbage if it was floating around my capsule. I'd be like, can someone get this floating cum out of here? How do you clean up in space? That's my
You're
question.
just chasing it with a bag open, like pushing off of other instruments. You know what I mean? Flying around.
So the second humans go into space, all we do is just create space trash. Which, does space trash even exist before us?
Oh, absolutely.
I guess so.
I mean, depends on what you want to consider trash, but yeah.
I don't know. You're gonna find like a Gundam floating around in space one day, like some kid's toys,
You say that like it's a bad
like a
thing.
yo-yo.
Right. See, there's some cool stuff.
It's just gonna be garbage in space once we get there.
A 50s chemistry set that could murder a child.
That's why I think Skynet has the potential to not be so bad, right? They're more efficient, more intelligent,
I don't know.
stronger. They can survive in space. They don't have to create these situations.
I mean, I feel like they would need humans to an extent, though.
Maybe.
I don't know. So maybe they'd figure everything out. It makes me nervous that you're on the side of the robots. Like, it does.
Well, I just, I want to be one.
This is what it must have felt like when somebody was like, maybe the Nazis aren't that bad. You're like, I don't know, man. I'm not a big fan of their ideals right now.
Some good ideas, some bad ideas. They were interested in space travel. They were interested in like ancient magic and shit.
Yeah, and then you also learn that Hitler was on meth like 27 hours out of the day.
He was on Oxycontin.
Those are the types of things that you think about when you're on meth.
You know,
Space travel, the occult, spirituality, genocide.
I've done meth twice. I don't think any of those thoughts ever.
But you gotta be doing it for a while. Yeah.
That's the consensus.
If you do enough meth, you get to
So
genocide.
do you feel like there is a threshold for the amount of meth you can do before you become you want to commit genocide?
Yeah, I've hit it.
Look at Washington, D.C. They're all on crack. And they're doing it.
Yeah. I've done meth a couple times and I didn't like it. I wanted to be more productive, and then I was like, wait, I do drugs to not be productive, so this is very
That's because you're
counterintuitive.
not a lizard person.
Yeah, I think it kind of like turns you evil after a while. I've never done meth. I'm
Yeah?
just
You're
joking
missing
around.
out.
Yeah.
Oh
well,
yeah, just go for
I've
it.
done like Adderall and stuff like that, so I know that I don't have the impulse control. That if I really like something, then I'm not gonna want to do it a lot. So I just abstain.
Yeah, and I'm definitely not encouraging you to do that.
But no, I don't judge anybody who's done meth, but I just know that's one thing. Some people are like, hey, I really like this thing, and I'm gonna sacrifice everything else in my life for it.
Yeah, and it never felt that good. I can say that much. Like the times that I have done it, I've never been like, this is worth ruining everything. It was just more of a, hey, this is fun. I get to party for another 12 to 24 hours.
Yeah.
And then you realize you're the only one partying for the additional 12 to 24 hours.
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes you think about when you do some of these drugs, like they do suck. And then you're like, how do people get to the point where like this is all they care about? Because this sucks.
Yeah. Well, like I had a friend that was a functional heroin addict for a while. And then he kind of went off the deep end for a while. He's a comic that we think is still out in San Francisco. He kind of went no contact 6 or 7 years ago. Yeah. He was a hilarious dude. I really wish he was still around, because hopefully he's still around. But dude, he had a joke about the best way to get a free casket is to go to Costco and commit suicide in the casket, and that's just yours. Like, that's your casket now. And so the dude's fucking hilarious, dude. But he just got high on acid one night and started painting pictures, and these like douchey San Francisco people would be like, oh my God, that's one of the most beautiful things ever. And he'd be like, $400. And they'd be like, that's it? And so he's staying in a flop house, living in a closet in San Francisco for $400 a month, and just eating acid. And like, he showed me his closet when I went out there for some shows, and the whole closet's just covered in paintings. And he's like, that one's already sold. Got to deliver that one. He's like, dude, all I'm doing is eating acid. It's like, okay, that's kind of rad.
I mean, yeah. Acid can make you pretty creative.
Yeah.
I like LSD and stuff because I feel like there's no way to go overboard with that. You take a trip and then you're like, all right, that was cool.
Yeah, dude.
I'll do it again next year, maybe. That's how it is for me.
Maybe. I
like doing acid. It does make me super creative in the moment, but it also lasts a long time. It's hard to, people who do acid all the time, I'm like, dude, you're out of control.
I had a period where I was eating mushrooms once a week for about 6 to 8 months maybe. And it was just, I quit smoking weed and would I'd eat an eighth like once a week and go walk around the strip or just hang out with friends. Like, I always enjoyed doing shrooms and not letting anybody know, and like seeing how well you could hold it together. Yeah, I got to where I just loved it. I was like, but I also convinced myself I have that kind of self-control where I was like, if I'm going to eat shrooms once a week, then I got to quit smoking weed all the time. You know what I mean? Like I can't have 2 drugs that I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I wish I had that kind of self-control with food, but I do not.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Like at a certain point, some people are like smoking weed, drinking liquor, doing mushrooms, like just on a cocktail.
And a lot of them are like counterintuitive to each other too. You know what I mean? Yeah, this is your intervention, by the way.
That is a lot, though.
Yeah, I mean,
I still do it all the time.
I've had nights where I've done all of it. You know what I mean? Like smoked a joint while I'm on shrooms or whatever. But that was after years of doing shrooms by itself, so I knew what to expect. I always get very dehydrated on psychedelics, so I don't really mess with beer. We used to go eat shrooms and just walk through the desert in the middle of the day.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And then at some point, you're just like, I think I'm lost. I'm fucking lost forever. And then everything that flies over you is questionable at that point. You're convinced that you're seeing some spacecraft from Area 51, like every time.
That's pretty sweet, though.
Yeah, no, it was a good time. Me and another comic ate some shrooms on the strip one time, and we were hanging out in the Cosmo, and we were just like sitting on a bench roasting people as they walked by.
You ever see any like alien stuff out in the desert?
I've seen stuff I can't explain. That's the best thing that I can say. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it was some atmospheric shit I don't understand.
But nothing that like sticks out. That's like, yo.
So I used to play darts a lot. Your boy was internationally ranked at one time in darts.
Okay.
But one of the guys that I played darts with, he worked at Area 51. And I was like, what do you do there? And I was expecting to be like, shut the fuck up. Everything's wired, bro. He's like, I don't know. He's like, they give me a box and they give me a schematic and I assemble what they show me. He goes, that's it. He goes, I don't know what it goes to. I couldn't tell you if it's a computer or a death ray. And I was like, it's a death ray, isn't it? He's like, I honestly don't know. He goes, and then we have to walk along very specific ways.
And that's how he sleeps at night.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
All I do is insert the power crystal. I don't know what it does.
Power crystal. But he was like, I was like, how do you end up getting a job like that? Like, you don't just see that on Indeed. You know what I mean? And I guess he was on submarines when he was in the Navy. And he said he was on a flight from Vegas to Idaho after being in Vegas for vacation. And a retired Army general or Navy general or whatever just happened to sit next to him. And he was like, yeah, I used to be a submariner. That's crazy. And then the guy was like, I know a place you should work. And I'm like, I don't really foresee somebody just pitching the Area 51 job to you at random without knowing who you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to have some stuff going on probably.
So
some people are bred into that, like the dogs, just generational people brought into government projects.
Again, it's the compartmentalization. They have no idea what's going on. They could be working on something high tech. They could be working on something that's just, something procedural. Yeah, I don't know. But you do see the planes fly out, the ones with the red stripe around the side. So those are legit. Like you do see those, but the closest thing we ever saw, and it's questionable because half of us were on shrooms, but everybody saw it. We were walking through the desert and we saw something flying, and you could just barely make it out in your like the guy binoculars. And we looked at it, and it was like that big, and it looked like the bat wing. It was just like it looked like a disc. I don't think it was aliens. I don't know what the fuck it was. But I feel like, we were out in what was it, like Goldfield, Nevada? It's an old like mining town.
You zoom in, it's Chris Angel.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I was over the Luxor. The wind blew me this way. But I mean, again, I'm not going to say that was aliens because I don't know. It looked like something I've seen on Earth before. So,
yeah. Well, that's interesting though. I've always wanted to go like alien hunting, just see if you can go see something crazy.
yeah, you will. Like there was one night where behind the cloud, you know how like when spotlights hit the clouds and move around, it'll illuminate. It's like, oh, that's spotlights. You saw that from the top side of the clouds. You saw lights that were moving around up top, and they would change color. But there's so many casinos there, and you're in a valley, so there's so much atmospheric stuff going on that it could be light bouncing from somewhere else. You know what I mean? So there's stuff that I think I can explain. There's stuff that I have no idea what I saw, and then there's stuff that I just don't understand what I saw. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I want there to be aliens. I would like to think that there's something out there smarter, but hopefully kinder than us.
That's why we gotta bring Skynet into the world so they can battle the aliens.
What if Skynet's on their side, though?
Maybe.
Which puts you on their side, by the way, traitor.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Space traitor.
I'm just getting in early, dude.
Space trade.
I'm trying to get benefits.
Yeah, right. I just want both sides to have a good time.
Because, yeah, I mean, if there's aliens out there, then they could do whatever they want, really.
We assume. We don't know what they're capable of. You think if they can time travel, right? That they're like capable of some pretty crazy shit. But at the same time, they may have just accidentally like stumbled upon it. You know what I mean? Or like, what if they're like, the South Koreans that they let go to guard Belarus or whatever? Did you hear about these guys? They sent a bunch of like South Korean or North Korean soldiers to one side of the conflict over there. And for the first time ever, they had Wi-Fi. And they all got addicted to porn. Every single one of them got addicted to porn. Yeah.
Well, whatever. They're being sent to their death, right?
Yeah. So like when the aliens get here, we're just like, here's a 1 month trial to Brazzers. All right. Let's see how you feel in 30 days.
Oh, they got sent to the Ukraine.
Yeah.
Russia
Yeah. I don't know
thing?
which side they were on. I'm assuming they were with like North Korea because that's pretty archaic to not let people have access to porn. So that fits the mold for that. But that's just so funny.
Damn.
Like,
Things are heating up over there.
It's like that Amazon tribe. Did you hear about that?
oh yeah,
Hear
the
about-
ones that like,
they got Starlink, and now all the village elders are upset because all the young men are addicted to porn.
yeah.
It's like just like random Amazonian tribe.
I don't
People
understand.
don't know anything, and then all of a sudden, all of them are addicted to porn.
Why?
Go ahead.
Why is there so much porn on the internet? Like, what do they gain from that?
Because it's the best.
Yeah, I mean, fucking is fun, and
It's all free, so how do they make money off it? Like, what's the point of?
There's ads, and there's also, if you're good at what you do, people will contact you to do personalized content. So you can do a video where you're having sex with somebody, and they're like, "Hey, for $500."
Sure, I understand why there's like OnlyFans where you have to pay for something, but there's just like endless free porn on the internet, and I don't.
But there's a lot of like, it sounds like you and I are in the same class of porn watcher where you probably know names, but you're not like, oh my God, I'm going to follow her. You know what I mean? I don't like, I have her rookie video.
Right.
This is when she still had her factory installed titties. This is when she got the store-bought titties. You know what I mean? Like, but there's people out there that are like that.
Yeah,
So,
I guess so.
Like there's people that I knew content managers for OnlyFans girls. And these content managers would basically sell the videos that the girls would make. So they would handle a lot of that stuff. And these people, she would see the request, you know what I mean? And sometimes it'd be some wild shit. And, people are just looking for something very specific that feels very personal. They will spend the money on it.
I guess so. It's just money in it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's probably the oldest profession.
Second.
What do you think's the first oldest profession?
It's like,
It doesn't matter what the first oldest profession is, but there's no way that money was set up for prostitution.
I don't know. I feel like it made as soon as money was able to buy other things.
I think
Yeah.
laws come first and then money. Right. Somebody lays down the law of like,
Because money needs to be there for prostitution
hey,
to exist, and I think that trades exist before that.
I think law comes first, because then there's a guy who's like, hey, you can't just murder all the people in this town and take the women and do what you want. So then they have to find a new way to get some pussy. And that's where money comes in.
Jesus, that's cynical.
I bet the first dude that harnessed fire got lots of pussy.
Probably.
Like lots of pussy.
Hey, you want to bang by this fireplace?
Yeah, this is cold, baby.
What's a fireplace?
You ain't got to wear all them animal pelts in my cave. Come
Yeah.
on in.
Yeah, that's, well, you know, they say Prometheus brought fire to the humans.
That's
Right.
Greek mythology, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. I got kicked out of class. I kept trying to convince my teacher there was a god named Testicles. And it was a hit every single time in class. It had to be annoying to the teacher, but everybody else would laugh at it. The teacher, because I liked the class. I really did enjoy Greek mythology, but I was also not going to miss that opportunity.
One time I got out of like an English class quiz just by writing in like funny answers for a quiz on a book I definitely didn't read.
Yeah, right.
Or like a short story or something. I just had no idea what was going on. And the teacher like laughed at it, so she just didn't grade those quizzes.
They give you credit for it?
I think they just threw it out.
Okay. Just like, we didn't even receive this one.
Yeah, we didn't do a quiz. Or whatever.
Yeah, I look back at my childhood and realize why I'm against teachers having guns. Because I would have been shot by teachers numerous times. Like, absolutely shot without remorse.
I go the other way on that issue, but because I would have been shot.
That's what I'm saying. I would have been like, the teacher shot me. Like,
No, I'm saying I agree with you. Sorry, I agree that I would have been shot, but I disagree with you because I would have liked to have been shot.
oh, okay, I got you.
I wonder why shooting up the school was such a popular terrorist attack for young white men.
Because it's cool.
It's obviously not cool though. Like there's no, I really don't think there's anybody who could like, even if you did that, if you looked at it, you'd be like, damn, I shouldn't have done that. Like,
I mean, I'm sure, there's always post-nut clarity,
right.
So I imagine there is that. But if you're a person that is hell-bent on feeling power when you feel none, I imagine the screams of many innocent people certainly fills that void. So, and you're dealing with somebody that is mentally ill.
Right.
And that just shows you how wide the mentally ill spectrum is. Because if you see a chick that's mentally ill, you're like, she's sitting on some good pussy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you are willing to lose half of your shit. You're willing to get your clothes burned for some good pussy. But when you see a dude that's crazy, you're like, fucking keep him away from a school and guns. You know what I mean?
But I think that, yeah, it's a double-edged sword there because I think it comes down to like a neglect problem. Nobody really like checks on you like after a certain, especially if your family life's not that great, then you're just a man loose in the world on your own, and like that's a pretty dangerous thing. And there's no system in society where somebody comes and checks on you, like, "Hey, man, you doing all right?" Like,
right? Yeah.
Yeah, you cleaning up in here, you taking care of yourself. Like, no one does that. And a lot of people have their parents or their friends or whatever, but some people don't. And
Why do you keep calling me out?
I have literally texted you and been like, "Hey, man, what's up? You doing all right?"
You have.
And that's good. Like, you need to do that with people because there's a lot of folks that like they just put their head down and trudge through every day, But yeah, you're 100% correct. You think of all the government regulations and departments out there should be at least one where they're like, you mind knocking on some doors, making sure people aren't practicing their noose tying fucking skills.
Like they say the government is spying on you, watching everything you do. I'm like, they don't seem to be paying attention to anybody.
Yeah, lots
dude.
of cries for helping you.
You're listening to my cries for help every night?
That's how these politicians get to sleep.
Yeah, it's all our recorded cries for help.
That's part of the sacrifice.
Yeah, my wife and I had an argument one time about phones listening. She didn't believe it. I was like, you look at all the fucking shit you signed, you said okay on.
Corporations are listening.
Yeah, like everybody, they're listening for advertising. They're listening for numerous reasons.
But I don't think the NSA or the CIA or whatever are listening to what I do.
Well, they have some sort of like program that will zero in on certain words. You know
Right.
what I mean? And if they
Yeah.
find enough instances of those certain words in a certain order, then the
Skynet's
like,
coming.
somebody's up to something.
Yeah.
But I mean, they don't have the time. I really wish there was an NSA guy watching me, just disgusted at me for the porn that I'm looking up. You know what I mean? Like, how many more times are you going to Google basketball team and housewife? Really? Find something new. You know? Just bored with me.
There's not any new videos on it since yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, dude, come on, get it together.
You're on 3,576 pages of ujiz.com. Take a break, buddy.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I don't think they're really watching me because
The apostrophe's not going to help on this search.
Yeah. Like we all feel like we're important enough that the government entity wants to watch us, but like, like I'll text my weed guy and I'm like, hey man, I want to pick up an ounce, and he's like, yo bro, don't put that in the text, and I'm like, for real? Like, you think that you're the one that's moving the weight that they give a shit about? Shut up, please. I'd like my ounce of marijuana. And like my wife and I talked about that, and we were talking about this Mexican restaurant that we used to like to go to in Vegas, and dude, within 20 minutes that ad popped up for that Mexican restaurant. So, and then she had the nerve to be like, I took a cash gig, and she's like mad at me, like, you gonna pay taxes on this one? I was like, you remember that Mexican restaurant? I went, you shut the fuck up about taxes around my phone, please.
yeah, those people might be listening.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, there he goes. He just got $50 and a 3.5 for that comedy show. We're about to get some of that.
Another $60 at Waffle House? How?
Yeah, they're definitely watching the bank account. I think like there's no rule against that.
I hope not, because I always send ignorant shit to my wife when I like send her money through Zelle. I'll put for like, the lean and scissor or whatever, like in the subject line, and it's sooner or later they're gonna say something. But one of my friends from playing music got in trouble for saying like bombs and terrorists. I don't think I think that one, you gotta skirt around that one.
Yeah, like just saying crazy shit in the Venmo notes or whatever. And I don't think he's allowed to use it anymore.
Not allowed to use what?
Venmo.
Oh, is he like blocked off of there altogether?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Saying like explosives and like guns and stuff.
Ugh.
Yeah, they came knocking.
So much for free speech. Yeah, I'm all for acting an ass, but man, at some point you gotta know.
Are you in the Discord? The comedy Discord?
I'm in the Atlanta Comedy Discord, yeah.
People have called the cops on the Discord a couple times.
Really?
Yeah. No.
How do you call the
They
cops
never
on
talked
the
to me.
Discord?
Well, it was just like somebody said they were going to shoot somebody or whatever,
Oh,
so
Jesus.
somebody called the police. So, yeah. If there's a list, I'm certainly on it, but I don't think they're listening to this right now. I'm sure Taco Mac and like Walmart are listening, but I don't think the FBI is too interested in the Discord.
Yeah, we're not that important that everybody's listening to us.
I
for
used
that
to
reason.
get like crazy people coming into the computer store who thought people were following them and watching them. They wanted to get their like hard drives wiped and stuff. They thought they were being hacked by their neighbors or the government or whatever. Used to happen all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
The people would just they would think someone was spying on them.
Yeah, it turned out there's a phenomenon called targeted individuals. Where
Okay.
people just think they're being targeted by a malicious group. And that's an interesting rabbit hole to go down, because a lot of the things they're saying are possible, but unlikely that it's happening to this random person. Yeah, a targeted individual is someone who claims to be the victim of electronic harassment or who is the subject of mobbing, gang stalking, targeted surveillance, or targeted killing. I've met some people like this.
I would be so excited. Be like, hey, before you guys kick the shit out of me in an alley, you want to buy tickets to a comedy show?
Yeah, I was working at my computer job, so I would love to invite crazy people. Some people at open mics always get mad because I always try to convince crazy people to do stand up. Does that ever happen to you where some guy comes up, he's like, I'm thinking about trying this stuff.
It never fails.
Like a homeless guy.
The more comfortable you get doing comedy, the more people feel like they can tell you that, because you make it look like the more comfortable you are up there, the easier you make it look, which is a goal for you, right?
Yeah.
But it's also a curse, because at that time you make everybody that's watching you feel like it's easy to do. I always encourage them, right?
Yeah.
Because like stand up has put me in the room with people that I never would have dreamed I would be in the room with.
Yeah. And also, you're gonna eat a dick up there eventually.
A lot, and you already have to understand that there's a level of self-hate that is going to be exacerbated. You know what I mean? Like, you think you hate yourself now, but the first time you have to ride out a 30-minute gig where no one gives a shit.
Yeah.
You think about every DeVry commercial that played that you should have called. You know what I mean? You're just like, maybe I should have gone to fucking UTI or whatever. Like,
you start Googling the University of Phoenix.
Yeah. So like that's where, when people don't realize that that's like the grind, or that hotel life seems fun at first. And then after a while, you're just like, all of these places have bed bugs. You know what I mean? Like, these all
hotels suck, dude. I hate hotels.
You used to tour a lot as a musician, right?
Yeah, I think the move is like get a van if you're gonna do comedy.
Yeah,
just get a minivan or like a van and put a bed in it.
You do the whole van life thing
on the road, at least. It's an investment because you're gonna make that money back on hotel rooms, right? Like, a minivan, you could find an old used one for $10,000. A hotel room costs $100 for one that doesn't have bed bites and cigarette burns in the blanket. And so 100 times whatever.
No, it definitely.
After like a few tours, you make the money back on the van.
Yeah, the only downside is sleeping in the van in like sketchy areas. You know what I mean? Like I've just being on the road and having.
I got a couple tricks, but I don't want to let them out of the bag.
Just in case in case you're being gang stalked.
Hey, my daughter will be older eventually, and I'll be back on the road.
It's called a 44 Magnum.
I don't want everybody to know my secrets.
Hell nah. You never know who's watching.
But I know some places you can park, and it is dangerous being on the road, and that's that's part of it. But
yeah, those people that are like, I've always wanted to do it, and I'm like, just go for it.
I can tell you where not to sleep on at a Walmart parking lot.
Yeah,
at certain truck stops. Like,
everybody's terrified of public speaking. But then also think like they're the funniest person in the room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I'm talking like I've been approached by like insane people off the street.
Oh, yeah.
And convince them to do stand up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where are you doing comedy that the homeless are inspired by you?
Atlanta, baby.
Johnny McCracken's.
McCracken's. 529. A couple others. Bars, mostly, where I'm bored because I don't drink.
I think a lot of like.
So I just convinced the homeless to follow their dreams.
Just out there drumming them up. You're like, I don't want to go last.
Maybe. That could be a bad idea. Sure. But I'm like, hey, maybe you really like this. Maybe you figure something out and you start doing a lot better.
Billy, comedy's not turning anybody's life around.
No. In fact, they were probably a comic, and that's why they are where they are.
Yeah, true. But, sometimes the homeless guy hits it big. Larry the homeless man.
Larry the homeless man. I like how you picture it like a singer. You know how they always find like the golden voiced homeless guy under the bridge serenading everybody.
There could be a funny one out there. Why not?
Yeah. Just some homeless guy standing on the corner. You know what the problem with Kias is? And
homeless people are funny as hell. One time I saw this guy drunk as shit at the gas station. I was on tour with my band, and so we were in like, middle of nowhere. And this dude just like walks up to the like water bottles outside the gas station. I think it was a Sheetz or a QT maybe. Like one of them where they have the big stacks of water bottles outside, and just starts pissing on the water bottles. And there's two cops just sitting in the car at the QT. They get out and they're like, hey, stop pissing on the water bottles or whatever. And he's talking to the cops for a couple minutes. Like, we're kind of just standing there watching because we've been on the road for like 4 hours or whatever. And he starts to run away from the police. It sounded like they were going to let him off with maybe just a ticket that he would probably never have to even pay. And he just started running away. And they chased him down and arrested him.
Yep.
And he started just saying that he was trying to take care of his kids. And I was like, what part of pissing on the water bottles and running from the cops meant you were taking care of your kids?
Dude,
that was funny.
Like, yeah, I don't think that person had kids. If he did have kids, he's not allowed anywhere near them. You know, that's the. I used to be in this car club. We used to travel around going to car shows, and in order to get into the car club, like if you were starting your own chapter, which I was in a city where there were no members, so I was one of the first members in that area. So, you would go to one of the larger car shows in a larger city, and you would have to do two things. Number one, you got to scoop up 60 cheeseburgers, right? Number two, you got to find a homeless person and bring them back to the hotel to party with us all weekend. So now you're like, how do I choose the correct homeless person, right? Because like you're potentially choosing a maniac, you know, like a psychotic person. And we're in Austin and we're riding up and down Capitol Street, and I'm like, we're riding in a single cab Ford Ranger. There's 3 of us, and I'm like, man, we got to find a homeless person. And we find this like. He looked like he'd been homeless for about a week and a half. And I'm like, perfect. You know what I mean? Still a rookie in the homeless game. So I walk up.
Wasn't that long?
No, it wasn't. Like, his hair was long. His clothes were intact. But he was, like, sleeping up against the light pole. So I was like, this dude's homeless. But I feel like it's new, right? His clothes look good enough. Shoes are the right size. Like, it's not like he's wearing a size 13 and a size 8.
He doesn't have a shit streak down his leg right now.
Yeah, his hair hadn't turned into one giant dreadlock yet. So we walk up, and I'm like, hey, man. You want to go with us tonight? And he was like, fuck you, like that. And I was like, all the beer and food you could eat in a weekend plus a hotel room. He goes, well, what are we riding in? So I was like, Ford Ranger.
See, I put this on the same level as the dog breeders, just so you know.
So I'm like, we're riding in that Ranger. And he goes running up and grabs the passenger side handle. And I'm like, yo, no, get in the back. And he's like, oh, right. Like, he just kind of had that moment like, oh, that's right. I'm not a person. I'm sorry. So, so he jumps in the back. Oh, dude. He jumps in the back, and he's like, crank up the tunes, brother. So I open the sliding back glass, and we roll the windows down. And he's standing up Teen Wolf style in the bed of the truck. And he's singing, fucking, here I am. Rock me like, I got the radio all the way up. Rock me like a hurricane. And we're listening to AC/DC. She shook me all night long. And he's like, hell yeah. And so he's fucking, I mean, we're on I-35 going south. We're doing 75. And he's like, whoa, slapping the roof. And I'm like, calm down, please. Like, so
he's in the bed of a truck?
On the bed of a truck,
That's
right?
hilarious.
So we pull up to the parking lot of the, it was the Red Lion Hotel. Like, it was a real nice hotel. And we pull up, and just, I mean, at this point, there's probably 300-400 people in the parking lot, and everybody starts cheering because they know what's going on. This dude's like freaking out, like, you know, I'm sure he had to have that one moment where he's like, I'm about to be hunted.
He's like eyes wide shut. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like,
ritual sacrifice.
My butthole's ready for this. So he
starts getting worried about gang stalking.
Right. And you know, him being homeless, he's probably not.
This guy's out to get me.
Yeah, he's like, ooh, it's everybody
have a truck.
Money too. So he jumps out and everybody's introducing themselves. I don't remember what his name was, but one of the guys walks over and is like, you're with me all weekend, right? Puts his arm around him. We got you a hotel room. You can go take a bath. And he was just kind of like, all right, where are we getting fucked up at?
Yeah. He's so like, when do I get to the beer and food?
And he just alcohol, just like he's on his way out. Everybody throws me money. They're like, go get cheeseburgers. And this is back when they were like 69 cents a piece. I end up with like $200. Everybody just threw me money. So I pull up at the drive-thru and I'm like, I need 60 cheeseburgers. And the girl goes, I'm sorry, what? Like, I need 60 cheeseburgers. She's like, are you fucking with me? I was like, I don't think that's the language you're supposed to use on the McDonald's microphone, but no, I am not. She's like, you got to pay for that before we make it. And I was like, that seems like a fair deal. So I handed her the money, and it was like $70 for everything. And they just start handing us just like armloads of McDonald's hamburgers. And we get back to the hotel, And this dude's doing like keg stands and shit. You know what I mean? Like everybody knows him on a first name basis. And I pull up and I'm like, I got cheeseburgers, and hands are just flying over me.
Did you bathe him first?
What's that?
Did you bathe him?
No,
You should have hosed him off first. Man.
No, dude. He got air shampooed.
Dude, go to Walmart. You could have got a whole outfit for less than those cheeseburgers.
We were bringing in an authentic, because what happens is while everybody's partying, he gets to go to his hotel room, and then everybody will be like, they'll wake him up and be like, let's go get breakfast. They'll take him to the outlet mall. They'll load him up with clothes and all that kind of shit. Like, it's not just a party, but it's like everybody's like, hey, we're also going to do this for you.
But yeah, you got to clean it. You got to hose him off first.
Well,
you should have took that truck through the drive-through car wash
yeah.
on your way back.
Great. That would have been the best.
He's singing, you shook me off.
And like, you have that internal dialogue where you're like, should I bring a cleaner homeless person? But then you're like, does it have the authenticity if he doesn't smell like
the cleaner
pee?
they are, the crazier they're going to be too.
You think so?
Yeah.
I think there has to be a certain level.
Well, the clean ones are going to murder you for sure.
Yeah, like a neurotically clean homeless person is terrifying.
Nobody who's been homeless for at least a few like months is going to be clean. They're going to be gross.
I mean, how homeless are we talking? Homeless with a YMCA membership?
No,
Okay.
That's not.
All right.
The YMCA is your home now.
Okay, that's fair. I'll take that. I'll go with that.
You can afford rent at the YMCA.
You're not completely outside
You just
yet.
can't sleep there.
So he ends up, he comes over and grabbed like 4 cheeseburgers down, 2 of them, put 2 of them in his pockets. And I shit you not, like 10 minutes later, he has a giant piss stain on the front of his pants, right?
There you go.
Because he is in blackout mode.
Yeah.
And then shortly after that, he pulls one of the cheeseburgers out of his pocket and takes a bite. And I was just like, you really are at the bottom right now. And this is amazing because I feel better about myself.
Piss burger.
And yeah, he ended up falling asleep next to the pool.
At least it was his own piss.
What's that?
At least it was his own piss.
Yeah, right.
For a change.
The next year, somebody went and got a homeless guy that was playing a guitar. And
a musical one. Those guys are also dangerous.
well, he was an older dude. And we all went out to dinner, and he's sitting at the head of the table, and he is like the belle of the ball, dude. Everybody's talking to him. And at some point, somebody goes something along the lines of, wow, you found a pretty cool homeless guy. And he goes, who the fuck said I was homeless? And then we all looked at our friend, and he was like, he was on the corner playing the guitar. Like, this is Austin, Texas, dude. That doesn't mean that he's homeless.
Yeah, you just found a musician and said, you want some beer?
Homeless,
I thought this was a gig, dude.
right?
You guys are fucking with me right now? Anyway, can we go to the outlet mall still?
There's a guitar center there, and I need new strings.
They got a band store.
We knew the last year we did it is when we hit the stage of doing the Bum Olympics. That's when we knew we were like, all right, we're at a certain level of depravity now where we got to stop doing what we're doing. We're just kind of getting wild with this. It was fun in the moment. And then you look back on it and you're like, that was shitty. Like, that was really shitty. Funny, but shitty.
Yeah, I used to be really good at beer pong, though. I could show up at a party and just fuck everybody's day up.
We got to
blackout, wasted, ruin their whole party, and beat them at beer pong.
Are you one of those guys with the constant backspin? You just know how to fucking.
It's just about confidence. The whole game is about destroying the confidence of your opponent.
We got the Michael Jordan of beer pong over here.
I was in there, man.
Billy, I want to see this at the next garage show.
All right. Well, the problem with beer pong is it's not really beer pong unless you're drinking the beer.
Well, that's what we got. A friend of ours.
I'll drink all your beer for you. We'll team it up. If you're half as good as you say you are.
It's all about confidence in beer pong.
All right.
It is. We've had now a professional bowler and a you said you were ranked in darts?
Yeah. I used to play a lot of darts.
We've had a pro dart player.
I mean, I would never necessarily went pro, but I did a couple of tournaments where I ended up like internationally ranked, and I was like, I'm fucking throwing darts. This is cool.
You never wore one of those jerseys?
No, but there is a picture of me floating around in one of the dart magazines wearing a fedora. So
nice.
That's out there.
That helped your concentration with a feather in the side?
No, it should. I wish. I wish. No, it's
Like
embarrassing.
a playing card.
Yeah, right.
Ace of
You,
spades.
you like cut the back end off of a dart like it's a feather.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Yeah, that just started out as like I'm stupid competitive with anything, you know what I mean? And with darts, it became like you see some guys that shoot and you're like they're playing a whole different game than what you know how to play, and they see a whole different board than you see, and then you start learning there's all kinds of these strategies and stuff, and you're like, all right, I like this.
Did you
So-
ever get into video games and stuff?
I used to. I used to. One of my favorite things ever to do was just get high and cruise around and skate 3.
Yeah, okay.
But now,
You like to enjoy video games?
yeah, I like to just kind of chill. Like
Because
even
video games is the same way. Like you'll just be having fun with the game. Like I like this game. I think I'm getting pretty good at it. And then you just play somebody, and it's like, no, you haven't even been playing the game. Like
hmm
you're
I
not
did-
even in.
I made that mistake with Mortal Kombat X. I was like, I used to wreck shop on the first 3 on Super Nintendo.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? I'm an OG. I'm coming into this.
yeah.
And then I started playing it on Xbox, and I was like, yeah, you boys still got it. I'm going to go online. And I went online and was like, I don't know who the fuck this kid is, but I hate him. I hate this kid. I hope childhood leukemia isn't his future. Like, fuck this kid. Like, it was abusive the way he beat me. I was not happy.
My friends and I used to play this Dragon Ball Z game, Raging Blast 2.
Yeah.
And it was fun because it was like really like similar to how the people in Dragon Ball Z would fight. And we got super into that game. And then, yeah, a new one just came out, and there's people who are just like insane on it.
Yeah, like one that I could actually hold my own online was Marvel versus Capcom. I don't know if you ever played that one, but like,
Yeah, I played that one. They used to have one at the movie theater
Yeah.
over in Marietta.
did you ever play NFL Blitz when it was in the
Yeah,
arcade?
yeah.
So we would go play this little small town in Mississippi. We would go play NFL Blitz, and I had this one friend that would yell out the most intensely gay shit, but it was like about football,
Yeah.
and you were just like, "Is this gay, or are you just?" Because he would be like, "I'm so deep in your shit right now," and you're like, "Hey, there's kids in here, man."
Yeah. That's video games. That's what they're all about, man. Playing together, having fun. We are pretty deep in this thing, man. Do you have anything that you want to promote? Shows or
Not at the moment. I'm just I'm working on writing a book. Finally getting that all put together. So, and then
any
hopefully
stuff online or anything?
I follow me on Instagram at Bobby Wayne S. TikTok is Fun Bob Fat Pants. I'm finally starting to do more content and things like that online, and and then first of the year I'm gonna start getting pretty intense with getting back out doing shows. I just wanted to take the time to focus on some writing, but I miss stand up. I miss it a lot. So
Hell yeah. Well, it's great to have you in, man.
I
Appreciate you coming through. Bobby.
Yep. Bobby Wayne Stauts on pretty much everything. So
Peace, y'all.